It is setting in again that I started over. Like I think this is the funniest thing you've ever done to somebody.
No, thank you.
I think this is the funniest thing that you've ever done. Is
I agree, yeah.
Backing me into a corner and not warning me at all that the next movie was a retelling of the first third of the show.
I mean, no spoilers, right? Welcome back to Pro and Noob, episode 20. I remember this time. We are talking Evangelion, the rebuild of Evangelion. 1.11. You are not alone. How you doing, buddy?
Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I'm wearing the same shirt I wore on the very first episode of this show because
I actually
started Neon Genesis Evangelion again.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Did you go back and watch that?
Of course
I did. Make sure.
Of course I did.
I adore the appreciation to the bit. I thank you very much for that one.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's the type of commitment you can get around here. Now, do you trust me, Jarod? In the words of Aladdin, do you trust me?
I will trust you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will let you cook. But
let Arno cook as well.
I must tell you, when the episode started out, or when the film started
the movie.
out, yeah. It's a few episodes.
6?
Yeah, I was like, huh.
Did you let out a geometrical scream?
What do you mean a geometrical scream?
That's what Ramiel does in this now.
Oh,
With the glow up. It doesn't scream in the original. It screams now.
Yeah, I just didn't know what you meant by geometrical. For a sec, that threw me off. But
it's geometry. That's why.
Yeah.
Based glow, by the way.
I will say.
Go and let the viewers what you told me. What was that immediate reaction?
My messages?
Yeah. More just the fuck you part. Right.
I texted you about to watch. You sent me a good luck gif. And then about 5 minutes in, I said, wait, this is just the show. To which you said, keep going. I said, the new version of the battle theme is really good. Then I said, just finished. Fuck you. I can't believe I just started this whole process over again.
But you should be saying you're right, Jarod. You called that everyone would come back.
It's early. We're early for this one.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
3 minutes in.
No. It's taxing. This is taxing. This is taxing. This is a lot. Listen, it was just such a shock. Like, I didn't, because like one of my big things coming out of the last one was like, where does the story go after this? Right. And I was not anticipating that we were going back. Now, in the name of fairness and in the name of honesty, so back way at the beginning of this, my YouTube recommended offered me up a video essay on Neon Genesis Evangelion that kind of played on it, like auto played in. And I got rid of it fairly quickly to avoid spoilers. And after we had finished End of Evangelion, I went back to it and I got about 5 minutes in and I immediately went, I can't watch this yet. Because for some reason I thought that it covered up to End of Evangelion, right? And then whenever it mentioned like basically there's a third part to the extra canon endings, and Mitch disappeared on me. He's gone. So now it's just me. Hello, everybody.
That was weird because you went first for me.
That's weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. I lost my train of thought. Do you remember what I was saying?
Last thing I heard was in honesty.
Oh yeah, in all honesty, I to kind of truncate what I was saying there for a second. I accidentally started a video essay about NGE, realized that
Who was it by?
I don't give me 1 second, I can look.
Because I watched one the other day. Like my YouTube just went, "Hey, watch this." And I was like, "Okay." And I thought it was really good. It was like 2.5 hours long, but it was really good.
I know the one I looked at. The one I clicked on and then ran away from once I realized that it would probably not be good for the whole point of this show was Making Sense of Evangelion by Sock Sensei. Clocking in at about an hour and 13 minutes. But it made passing reference to to there being a third of the weird endings that is simultaneously canon but contradictory to the other ones.
I mean, technically.
So once I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm out. Because again, I thought I was kind of under the impression that Neon Genesis Evangelion was the show, End of Evangelion, and then the movies told their own follow-up story. And that was, I was like, well, how do you continue this? And especially based on like the titles of the films, they also seemed relatively self-contained. So that's why I was like, maybe I can watch this now.
Yeah.
So I tried to, and then it mentions the third ending, and I was like, okay, I gotta go.
I mean, the manga's the third ending, technically. I still wouldn't watch the video just in case it's not what he's talking about, but
yeah, like I said, I immediately hung it up. And again, he had like the visual he had on the screen was like, and granted it was kind of small, so like I could only tell what the first two like boxed like videos in boxes were because I've already seen them, but I could tell that there was a third thing in motion, and I was like, okay, done, and ran away before I could see anything that could possibly taint me. And
proud of you.
Thank you. If I'm gonna beat this, I'm not gonna cheat at it.
You don't beat Neon Genesis, Jarod. You should know by now.
I will do it. I will.
You get your emotions brutally pounded down into nothing, and then forced to look at yourself. That's what Neon Genesis does.
That's just a bad EC match for me. I've only had one bad match, but
several.
The only one I will call bad was that team's match with Kaysen. That was rough. That was the only one I will say was bad. Especially because I whiffed on a Revenge of the Sith quote, and that's what killed me. But anyway. So yeah, I was like, okay, so the third ending, whatever, and I'm like, okay, but like at no point did I go, maybe the show is a retelling of these films are a retelling of the show. And it started going, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is not what I was expecting. I was a little frustrated because from my point of view, again, the whole premise of this show is that I don't
Is your
know
point of
shit.
view? Yeah.
Is I don't know shit about fuck. That's the whole point. So I was not anticipating pressing play, and I'm like, because here's what happened. I go, oh wow, that wasteland must be from Third Impact.
Why did you think that, Jarod?
And then it cuts, but mostly because of the red, like because they were so much red in the ending of End of Evangelion. Then I'm like, oh, like okay, that's why all of the water is red this time. And then I see those like mountainside mounted heavy artillery cannons, and I went, that's a shot from the first episode. And then the third, fourth, whatever the fuck, Angel emerges.
I think they change it in this.
And I'm like, wait a minute. And then it's Shinji on the payphone, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then it's fucking Misato in the car. And I went, oh. Not only is it not over, I'm back at the fucking beginning. And I'm not going to lie to you, there was a brief moment of a feeling of utter defeat.
Good.
Just absolute, like, I was like, I will never be free.
No.
I was like, what I'm going to find out.
You got to read the manga after this now, don't you?
No.
Why not?
Because, Mitch, I'm about to experience this same story a second time after experiencing two different versions of the ending. No, I can't do anymore. I will finish these films. I promise. But after that, we're putting Neon Genesis Evangelion in the rearview mirror.
Until the next one comes out. Then.
What the fuck do you mean the next one?
What do you think, Amy?
Is there another one coming? Is that a sword that's been hanging over our heads this whole time that I didn't know about?
You know, Damocles is like.
Yeah.
No. Don't worry. No. There might be. I don't know.
Oh God. Well, either way. So I'm like, okay.
I hope so. In fairness, but.
There was me too, because this is really good. But I had a moment where I was like, oh, it's just like a film adaptation, not a follow-up, not a sequel. And again, there was a moment where I felt kind of cheated for a second. Because again, the whole point is that I'm supposed to go in blind. I cannot be Googling plot synopses. I can't do my research going in. So that feeling of being cheated was more a direct result of the limitations put on me as a viewer that is a part of this exercise, right? Mm-hmm. So I have my so at first I'm like feeling really cheated and fucked off, but very quickly I get over it and I'm like, okay, this will be a fun bit of ha 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 ha. Jarod didn't know it was, as my name says, Neon Genesis New Game Plus, where I was like, okay, I swallowed my pride and I was like, all right, this looks incredible.
It does, yeah.
This looks fucking remarkable.
It's not bad for 2007, is it?
No. So I was like, this looks great. One of my few big complaints artistically was very limited music. The music that is in the show is good. There's just very little of it and it is mostly the same leitmotifs every 30
You're
seconds.
going to have that same complaint a lot. Not just for this, but for other things as well.
Oh, I think the other reason I had that issue was because I started to really enjoy a lot of the music in the show. Like I said, like the Rei Ayanami suite is like, and I'm not exaggerating at all when I say this. It might be one of my favorite pieces of music out of all of television. That really mournful piano melody is just really, really beautiful. And like I said, like I really do love that. And I lit up when I heard it. I got really excited the first time because I text you like, I like the new version of the battle music because it starts out with that like driving timpani, that dum 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 dum. But like it's modulated slightly, so it's not just a repetition of that like driving timpani. Like you hear it and it is the driving force of the song. But like that cadence, that dun 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 is like expanded across the song, and it's not just a repetition of that. So I really appreciated that. There was some newer music in here. I love that, like the we're at home having a good time, like do 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 ba do ba do. So unfucking changed.
You can't change or improve on what's already perfect, Jarod.
That little whistly whimsical,
whatever it is, it's something like that.
Yeah, and I like that. And again, the Rei Ayanami theme didn't feel changed at all. It felt a little bit fuller. That might have been a mixing thing, but like I said, that whimsical "We're at Home" song, like it sounded pulled out of the original. It sounded like they just like dragged and dropped like the same audio asset into the mix here. And it works very well there. I will say, having just watched the version of it, Neon Genesis Evangelion, that is on Netflix, the voice cast was a jarring change.
I've been meaning to ask you.
Not again. I don't want to say that any of these performances are bad because they're not.
If you say anything against Misato, we're gonna fight.
It's just, again, I think it's a matter of taste, of like personal taste. Like I'll give a good example. As a kid, and obviously this is not a unique experience. Most people who are familiar with us from like our coverage of like, Cape shit, right? So this is not a unique experience to say that in my mind, Batman always sounded like Kevin Conroy. If Batman was animated in any way, shape, or form, he sounded like Kevin Conroy. In the same way that Chris Barnes is what Spider-Man sounded like to me for the longest fucking time.
Yeah.
It was weird, like watching Spectacular Spider-Man as a kid. Oh my God, I had it and I just lost it. What's the voice actor's name?
Keaton? Is it Josh Keaton?
Josh Keaton, thank you. Who again turns in an incredible Peter Parker performance. He is great. Every time Josh Keaton steps into the booth to play Peter Parker, he hits it out of the park. But not hearing Chris Barnes' voice fucked with me as a kid. And this, like, going into this so fresh off of that voice cast was so weird.
Yeah,
it was so.
This is my problem with what Netflix have done, because obviously the Netflix one isn't the originals. The core cast here is, and I hate
that was going to be my question. Is that I had a feeling that this might have been the original cast.
Yeah, Misato, Gendo, Shinji, Asuka, Rei are the originals. Toji is probably the worst one here, but Toji changed voices in the original anyway.
Okay.
He's had like 5 different actors, so he's not even a concern for me. Plus, he's supposed to be slightly older than them anyway. But
yeah, I just like, and there were a couple that really hit my ear wrong. Like there were a few that I was like, oh,
Misato is probably the most jarring one, because it's so different. It's so different.
is jarring. There's a rasp to Misato here.
Yeah.
There's almost like and this isn't me saying that it's 1-to-1, but there's almost like a Marge Simpson quality to it. That again, not bad. It is not a bad.
No, but it's that same like back of the throat. Like,
yeah. I mean, how it reflects that she's a fucking chain smoker better. Like, I can't take away from the performance, but like that was something that also, like, again, the initial shock of, this is a cinematic reboot of sorts.
A rebuild, you could say.
The rebuild. But like, this is a cinematic retelling of the same story with some slight changes, which we're going to get there. Did not expect
we already started talking about them with the red.
Well, that I did not expect to hear the name Lilith this early on.
I mean, that's not the biggest change, but yeah, carry on.
But yeah, so like it was the shock of going in there. It's a retelling. Oh, and everybody sounds different. Which again, for me, is like this ass backwards thing. It's like I love Star Wars as my first love when it comes to storytelling. And I've never seen the theatrical version of Star Wars in my life. As long as I've known Star Wars, there's been a random Ronto in the middle of Mos Eisley. Han moves really fucking weird when he and Greedo get into a mini firefight. Jabba the Hutt has always been in A New Hope. That is Star Wars to me, and I never knew it was different until I was like a preteen, and I was like, oh, that's fucking crazy. So there was a lot of shocking things that almost put me back to episode 1. It was almost like accommodating for the fact that now that I know the story, it felt like the movie went, oh, we need to throw you off your rhythm again. Like you're watching this for the first time. So
why
boom,
do
the music's slightly different. Boom, the voices are different. Boom.
Technically the voices are the same.
To me, at least.
To you, yeah.
To me, the voices are different.
I was going to say, if you go back and watch the original show and movie, please, for the love of fuck, try and watch it in the original dub.
Maybe.
If you can. No,
I will say.
I don't care how you do it, but.
In terms of performance, at least so far, I like Netflix Gendo a lot more. Netflix Gendo's voice fits better for me.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to imply it heavily, but
I know at some point I'm going to talk to Armin about Joker, so I'm ready for it.
I'm offended you think I'm like that, man.
No, I'm just preparing for. I'm not going to say you're wrong. It's going to heavily imply it.
No, that's fine.
Anything, I'm going to do that to Armin. He's just going to call me an idiot to my face. And I'm going to have a knockdown, drag out argument with somebody I've looked up to for most of my for my entire adolescent life. But I don't necessarily like Joker 2. I just don't like the shake it's being given. Shitty discourse on the internet is going to make me defend a Joker movie.
We're not here to talk about Joker.
I know we're not. I'm just putting it out there. That the internet is going to force my fucking hand, and it makes me angry.
I'd like to point out, no one forced your hand here. You're doing it yourself.
I know. I just can't stop thinking about it. But anyway,
this man is not mentally well.
No, and
whether that was Joker or this show, I don't know.
Yeah, it all started here. You get what you fucking deserve, but no, I like Gendo and Netflix more. I like Cyclops Gendo, and I think I like Netflix Shinji more.
Oh no!
I go back and forth. There are some scenes where I like OG Shinji, and there are some scenes where I like Netflix Shinji. There have been some scenes where I'm like I'm waffling back and forth.
I will say I don't hate the Netflix dub. I think they do a decent enough job. I wasn't a fan of Asuka straight away. She's quite different as well. But yeah,
I'm excited to hear what she sounds like originally.
A lot better than this one. Less little girly. Not derogatory, but Netflix Asuka sounds more like a little girl than the original Asuka does.
Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense. Like for one to sound more like a teenager than one to sound a little bit
She
more.
also puts a bit more flair on the German than the Netflix one.
Good. It's
Who just
weird that
says
she
it.
has no German accent in the first one. It's distracting that she is speaking it like a full American accent. But no, yeah. So that was really interesting. Again, jarring, not again, not necessarily bad. It's just shocking. And I had a lot of opinions very quickly that I had to kind of put to the side because it's not the point of this. It's a byproduct of this exercise that I don't know anything going in. But yeah, no. Mitch, would you like to run us through some of the differences?
Well, you start off with the Red Sea, as you know.
Yeah.
There's an outline of something quite big by a bunch of buildings surrounded by red. It was also in the same scene. The moon's got the blood stain on it from End of Evangelion.
Yeah. Which again was why it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool.
That's the thing. I'm trying to think of if there's any little ones. Oh, they talk about the fruit of life and the fruit of knowledge, or the seed of life and the seed of knowledge.
The tree, yeah, that's how they say it in this. Because Taylor was like in and out of the living room as I was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, it's just the beginning of the show again. I'm fucking furious. And she was like, and she came in eventually, and she like sat down, and she's like, so like, what is this? Just like the first episode? And I'm like, no. I was like, we're about like 6 or 7 episodes in at this point in the film, is when she asked. And I was like, and I told her, I said, the best way I can describe this is that it feels like the first third of the show making an active effort to make the viewer feel less fucking crazy while watching it. Because they are laying seeds a lot more effectively than the show, And again, maybe those seeds were laid in the show, and because like in the aggregate, this shit I didn't catch.
Not like this one. No, it's not. So.
I was like, maybe they talked about like the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, and I just fucking forgot about it. But hearing them say that, I'm like, oh, cool. They're teeing this up. They're sowing the seeds for us to go, oh, that's that thing. That I really appreciated. One of the big changes that really threw me for a loop was Misato taking Shinji to see Lilith.
Yeah, see Lilith, yeah. Because what does that mean for the rest of the story, right? Because that's Kaji's subplot out the window.
I know, and that was my thing where I was like, okay, what's going on with Kaji here then? Because the whole point of Kaji, not the whole point, it's very reductive, but Kaji's big narrative thrust was that he knew that Sile and Nerve had like equally devastating for humanity end games that he wanted to get in front of. It's a varying degrees of success. And
R.I.P.
And I was like, okay, because again, it was also important that Misato and most people don't know that one of the first angels is being held dormant under this facility, crucified. So to have Misato take Shinji down and go, listen, these are one of the angels. This is why they're attacking our headquarters. It kind of helped create life on Earth. It's so important to keep this out of the hands of the angels that we are willing to let ourselves die in the name of protecting it from them. And I was like, wow, that was really powerful.
So it's a completely different attitude to original Misato.
Yeah. So that was really compelling. Yeah, and then obviously it ends with Karu being activated by Seele. So yeah, were there any other big ones I'm missing?
No, that's about it.
But yeah, I'm very interested by it. I love, because here's my thing. I really love the Karu episode.
It's a great episode.
Really loved it. And I think that my only complaint about the Karu episode is that for how earth-shattering and destructive his presence is, it is such a flash in the pan. And teeing up Karu as like as you know, almost this like herald of the end times. I like a lot more. We're not going to split hairs over whether or not the apocalypse is the beginning or the end.
I'm not splitting anything.
Okay, so you're going to look me in my eyes and imply to me that either ending is not an apocalyptic event?
No.
Okay.
Define apocalyptic.
Define apocalyptic. Let's talk about a mass casualty event across the planet that involves a bunch of genetically engineered fucking monsters harvesting the souls of billions?
No one died. They transcended. They got raptured. They got fanted.
Mitch, you would be such a good member of a fundamentalist doomsday cult.
It's a rapture.
You're about to get an invitation from the Seventh-day Adventists. Like you're gonna Google them.
I don't want that on my algorithm.
What? You don't want yours to look like mine? You don't want to have a fascist cult in America?
No. I'm surprised you're not doing this from inside a prison, to be honest.
No, when
are
they
you
take
part
over,
of what Alex Jones owes as well?
listen, when they inevitably take over in November, I'm going to get a firing squad. I'm going to be one of the first they take out. But yeah, no, I just really like the framing of Karu here. I really do. Again, it's because it's building up the role he plays in the fracturing of reality. Pardon my hiccups. And yeah, it's really fascinating. And again, another thing that is iterated on and explored a lot better. They're not better, but just more clearly and much sooner, is Seele's motivations. Like, I think that might have been the biggest thing that confused me the most with the original series. Is like, I don't know what Seele wants.
Exactly what you just saw. Yeah.
You know, and again, by the end, I'm like, oh, this is what they wanted, but I still don't know why. You know, but like very early on, having them talk about like our covenant with Lilith to bring about like and human instrumentality is how we will, you know, make good on our promise to Lilith. Like just hearing that alone, I am so much more on board with following Seele as an organization. Because with Nerve, again, it's this mad science. It's that again, you get glimpses and feelings about what is driving Gendo Ikari. You know, about wanting to be reunited with his wife, be it through, you know, again, early on, it seems like some attempt at resurrection. You obviously see it's a reunification through human instrumentality. But like with Nerve, you can tell that Gendo is trying, like Gendo is straight up trying to bring about the apocalypse. But like but you don't quite understand what the end is. But his is a lot easier to explain as the event is taking place. Where Seele,
he's the important one.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost like trying to explain Star Wars to somebody who has not seen the original trilogy. It's almost like trying to take somebody who like has an understanding of what the prequels are, who maybe saw the sequels, but not actually letting them know here is what success looked like for the Emperor.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just using Palpatine because it's like two like massive conspiracies on either side of the table here. But it's like if you look at somebody and they go, okay, well, like sure, he made the galaxy an empire, and we see this big orb in space that they're building at the end of Sith. You as the viewer don't know what the fuck that even means.
No.
But if you've seen the original trilogy, you know how dangerous the Death Star is. You know what the galaxy looks like during the reign of the Empire, and you know how much power the Emperor possesses, not just in terms of his connection to the Force, but politically. The amount of things he's able to do. And Sile felt like I was like constantly running away from a monster that I didn't quite understand. So them making it clear, and that was the other thing with Sile, is it's so early on, I felt like, and again, this might be a me thing, this may be me not watching the show right, which I will happily admit I did or didn't do at whatever point. They felt like a generic, like, just security council.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the time it feels like they know Gendo Ikari is fucking with shit he shouldn't, but he's too important to get rid of. They aren't quite sure what exactly he's fucking with and whether or not it's worth worrying about that much. So like the whole time it feels like they're a bunch of stiffs who just want to eradicate the angels because they pose a clear and present danger to the people of the world. And it isn't until halfway through the show where it's clear Gendo and Nerv and Sile are both like on almost opposite ends of the same doomsday prophecy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And I don't know, it came as a shock to me that Sile was a part of the doomsday prophecy. Where here, we're here them just stating outright, like, we need to bring about the Human Instrumentality Project to make good on our covenant with our covenant with Lilith, and then activating Kaoru. It does grant a lot of context that again makes them feel just it makes more sense.
That's fair.
Which I really appreciate so far. Is it
because a lot of the Sile stuff is from supplementary stuff, along with like where Adam and Lilith came from, and it's all they're kind of intertwined at that point. But
and again, I understand that. I appreciate that. Again, I'm a Star Wars guy. I've come to peace with sometimes for a bigger explanation, I got to pick up a book.
Oh, if only it was a book.
You know, I've come to terms with the idea that like the TV show or the movie will give me just enough to understand to understand what I'm watching. But if I want a more robust explanation, I got to pick up a comic, I got to pick up a book, I got to boot up a video game, I got to turn on my Audible account. I'm cool with that. I've made peace with that. I am fine if that's how it's working. Sile just fundamentally didn't make any fucking sense to me. And again, knowing that there were movies, it wasn't a complaint I super harped on because I'm like, I'm sure now that Human Instrumentality is taking place, we're going to focus our attention from Gendo to Sile. And then now it's like, okay, Sile, what did you have to do with this? And how can we either undo it or make it so that it is more equitable and less forced on other people? Like that was my assumption going in. And that's why I was like, okay, I want to see where this ends up. Because that was on my list of things of like, I'm going to hold my breath on this until I fully feel as though this is a valid complaint.
So I feel like the Kaoru episode, they do tell you what they're up to. They do at least give you that impression that they are the ones trying to do this as well. And I feel like throughout the show as well, you get Gendo and Futsuki saying the same thing, but
they do, but it just happens
very
so late.
small nugget.
It's a very small amount of it. And again, like I get this might be a me problem. This might be a as you know, I am the titular noob. This might be a product of I have not watched enough anime to keep up with the way in which it dispenses exposition. Like again, I'm fully
you could watch
willing.
so much anime, and you'll still have been the same point. Nothing else tells this information like this that
And again,
I've watched.
I'm just adding that caveat because I'm willing. 9 times out of 10, I am not going to blame a piece of media for me not getting it. 9 times out of 10, I am not going to blame the media. I am going to look at myself and go, okay, what is not clicking for me? All of that to say, like the Kaoru episode in the show proper is another one of those instances where there is so much shit going on. Like, just like, again, for me, who is still trying to wrap their head around Avas and angels and the differences between them and how they operate and what's the, trying to figure out like what is the secret sauce here that is driving the narrative.
You just ask the question, Jarod.
What?
Just ask the question.
I've been asking it for 20 episodes.
You can ask it now.
What the fuck are the Avas and the angels, Mitch? Let's try this again.
They're the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there you go. Then that's your answer.
Okay, it's kind of not enough for me.
It wasn't. You didn't ask the question I was expecting, so that's the answer.
What was the question you were expecting?
I thought you were going to say like, "What are the angels?" Like, I wasn't expecting the and the Avas.
That too.
Right. Well, the angels obviously come from Adam. This is not going to be an answer you want. I'll tell you that now. They're just. My understanding is they were originally just like amorphous blobs, but because they come from Adam, they just take the shape of like how they see themselves, and that's like all the information you really get on it.
Cool. That helps.
I told you weren't gonna like it.
I know. I'm not blaming you. But like with the Kaoru episode, like again, like I'm up to that point. Like with the show, I'm so caught up on like trying to understand what the angels are and seeing an angel that manifests as just another teenage boy. That feels like it's possessed by the fucking devil. That threw me through such a loop that any of the fucking exposition given is just right over my head because I'm like there's always so much going on. Again, it's not the fault of the show necessarily. It is just a byproduct of like some of this shit feels a little like, hey, concept, fuck you, keep moving.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's not. It doesn't feel like that. That's what it does.
And
it trusts the viewer. It doesn't think the viewer's dumb. It doesn't feel the need to explain anything.
Sure. That's always fun to say. That's a fun thing to say about a piece of media. Sometimes you need to let the viewer catch the fucking breath. Sometimes your media becomes a little unintelligible when you move at a breakneck pace the entire fucking time.
Skill issue.
Yeah, there it is.
What do you mean? I've never said that.
But yeah, so I found that very interesting. I was a welcome change to the structure of the show, to the structure of the story, I should say. Seeing it kind of with a little bit more, with more perspective. The show
almost like you've done your research to loop it back around to an earlier point.
What do you mean?
Well, you said about like not having any prior research, or you wouldn't know. It's like, well, now you have it.
It's funny. Watching this, I am having it. It feels like this is God. If the audience of your channel wasn't mostly made up of people who like again are already familiar with us and our work, I feel like what I'm about to say would get so many "you need to watch more movies" comments.
I mean, liking Goku too, I think you need to watch more movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never said I fucking liked it. I just think people are misunderstanding it semi on purpose.
Yeah. That's a bit of, and I'm not even going to carry on this conversation there. You go back. No. I was about to open a can of worms there. That was not going to end well for either of us.
It feels like watching this movie today. It felt like I was watching. It felt like early MCU in a way, where it's like
it came out at the same time. No.
Yeah, but it had that feeling of like, oh, I can tell what you're teeing up.
Yeah.
I see what you're cooking here. Well played. Like there was a lot of moments for me where I went, clever, well played. Again, like letting Seeley just speak about what it wants. You know, it felt like all my friends asking me who the red guy at the end of Avengers was. You know, like that's what it felt like. You know, it was a lot of, seeing Kaoru and the way that they speak to him and what he has to say. It's very, okay. Cool. Clever. Well played. And that's a byproduct. I've seen the fucking show now, so I know how this ends. Well, let me rephrase that. I know what it's heading to. I know the direction it's going, vaguely.
Are you confident with that?
I am willing to bet that there's going to be another buck wild fucking curveball that is going to completely reshape the narrative and delineate it almost entirely from its original story. And I say that, because of like, I hate when we use terms like justify its existence in terms of
no.
But in a like, okay, the people know what's coming, so let's give them something new type of mentality. I also have come to accept that Murphy's Law very much applies to the Pro and Noob show, and that the moment I feel confident I'm going to get punched in the fucking mouth by Neon Genesis Evangelion, I'm going to get an Ava fist to the lip. So that's also part of it where I'm like, because again, like the story is already wildly different. Like the conceit that Masato knows about the origins of the Avas, and we have an angel, a different fucking angel, locked up at the bottom of Nerve with this whole origin story is already such a wild change that has to have greater implications down the road. Like it is not lost on me. It is not lost on me. Like the shock of Masato taking Shinji to see this crucified angel did not blind me to the fact that it is a different fucking angel. That one could maybe posit the idea, okay, here's Jared's first theory about a story he's already seen because Mitch fucking hates me.
That's me.
Because I have to start over Neon Genesis New Game Plus. If that's not the title, I'm gonna be so upset with you.
I already decided the second I saw that it's going to be the title.
Good, thank you. I thought that was clever. I would posit a guess that if Lilith is the one that's crucified, and in the original timeline, for lack of a better term, it is Adam who's crucified with Lilith's consciousness inside of Unit 0, that the reverse is probably true here, and that Lilith got crucified and captured, and that Adam's consciousness / soul is inside of Unit 0.
Are you saying that in the original show, the one they had in the headquarters was Adam?
Yeah, that's what they say.
No.
Yeah, fucking
No.
help. What's his name? Fuck.
There's Shinji, there's Toji, there's Futsuki, there's Kaji, there's Gendo.
Kaji, thank you. I lost it. Kaji says it's Adam.
He says it's Adam, Jarod. Doesn't mean he's right.
I thought it was kind of agreed upon that was Adam on the cross.
No. It was Lilith. They tell you it's Lilith.
Okay, can we revisit? There's too much shit going on the entire time.
Gendo has Adam in his hand.
Okay, that makes sense now. Cool.
And the whole reason Impact triggers off is because Adam and Lilith DNA is the same as the second Impact, even the second Impact actually happens when they take the spear out of Adam because security measure. But when the DNA, the two of them come together, it causes a reset. I should have told you this last week, but I got lost.
No. You're okay. My idea of it was that it was making Adam whole again.
Nah.
And that was him like regaining his ability to arise. Okay.
So it's also why when fucking White Ray goes up and Shinji sees her, they split into Kaoru because the two of them are together.
Okay, that makes more sense. Cool.
And why it says welcome back or welcome home when Ray floats up before she gets eaten by the chest vagina teeth.
Mitch said that, and I'm sure he still thinks it's starting the show with Evangelion was a great idea.
It was a great idea.
All right, cool.
I started this show with Neon Genesis because if you didn't want to do any more, then I've done the one that I wanted to do. Everything else is a bonus from here on out.
You know what pisses me off, Mitch? You know what gets my goat? You know what grinds my gears?
A lot of things.
The fact that I respect the shit out of you for that. You motherfucker. No, this is good. And I'm excited for my next playthrough of Neon Genesis.
Oh, you should be, Jarod. You should be. There's a specific clip I want you to play right now, and I think you know the one.
Hold on. Let me find him.
Bam.
Sensational. And that's his word.
It's not the one, but I'll take it.
Oh, what would you want?
You'll never know.
Oh.
Hey guys, thanks for watching or listening, whatever flavor you prefer. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the good stuff so you don't miss an episode. And of course, leave a comment, tell us what you thought about this episode of Neon Genesis. If you watched it before or you haven't, I generally love to hear what people think about this show. If you're following along with us, that's great. If not, and you watched it before, tell us what you think about this one specific episode in particular, because we are trying to keep Jarod spoiler free as much as possible. And yeah, any help is greatly appreciated for this little channel project we're working on here, trying to build this up. And of course, we can't do that without you guys. So yeah, any help is greatly appreciated, and we'll catch you all for the next one. So take care.